Welcome back to The Explainer. So recently we looked at proportion and scale. You know, those foundational principles that help us create perfect size relationships. But today we're taking a massive leap forward. We are diving into one of the absolute most important principles in the entire world of design: unity and harmony. Think about it like this. You could have the most breathtakingly beautiful individual pieces in the world. You could have a meticulously hand-woven Kanjivaram silk, a sleek, modern, minimalist chair, and some absolutely stunning piece of futuristic typography. But if you just throw them all together without a plan, the entire thing is going to feel completely disconnected. No matter how gorgeous the individual pieces are, if they don't work together, the whole system just breaks down. So let's dive into this and figure out exactly how to bring everything together perfectly.
Here is our exact roadmap for today. First, we'll define unity and harmony. Second, we'll look at why visual coherence actually matters. Third, we'll explore the specific tools for creating connection. Fourth, we'll see how these apply across entirely different design fields. Fifth, we'll talk about why unity absolutely does not mean sameness. And finally, we'll do a quick observation exercise to test your visual eye.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, defining unity and harmony.
Okay, so unity and harmony. These are two foundational concepts that people mix up or use interchangeably all the time, but they actually do slightly different jobs in the design ecosystem. Let's start with unity. Unity is really all about a sense of belonging. It's that feeling you get when absolutely every part of a design looks like it belongs exactly where it is. The elements look connected, they look purposeful, literally nothing feels random or out of place. It's kind of like when you open a really high-end wedding invitation, and the typography, the texture of the paper, and those little gold foil accents all just feel like they were born to exist together. That right there is unity.
Now, switch gears to harmony. Harmony is all about the actual relationship between those elements. It's what creates that sense of visual agreement and consistency. Think of it this way. If unity means everyone at a dinner party happens to be in the same family, harmony means they're actually getting along and having a pleasant conversation. It's about how well the elements play together to give you a smooth, frictionless visual experience.
Seeing them side by side like this really helps cement the difference. On the left, unity is purely focusing on connection and belonging, asking, are these elements part of the same whole? And on the right, harmony is focusing on compatibility and agreement, asking, do these elements actually look pleasant when you put them next to each other? Together, these two are an absolute powerhouse duo. They're what creates a complete, coherent, and deeply satisfying design.
Moving right along to Section 2, why visual coherence matters. To really appreciate the value of unity and harmony, you kind of have to imagine what happens when a design completely lacks them. So close your eyes for a second. Well, unless you're driving, please keep them open. But vividly imagine walking into a living room. Okay? In one corner, you've got ultra-sleek, modern, stainless steel furniture. Right next to it is highly traditional, heavily carved, antique wooden decor, like, say, a massive old Chettinad pillar. The walls are painted in bright, pulsing neon pink and green, and the floor is just rough, unfinished, rustic concrete. There is absolutely zero relationship between any of these items, and what happens? The room feels incredibly confusing, totally overwhelming, and honestly, a bit stressful, right? That is exactly what zero visual coherence feels like.
Now, apply that exact same chaotic energy to the digital spaces we use every single day. Imagine trying to book a train ticket on an app, or ordering some dinner, but the interface is using 5 completely different font styles. The buttons are all crazy, clashing colors. What happens? The whole digital space feels totally disorganized. And here's the thing about the digital world: disorganized instantly translates to untrustworthy. A lack of harmony completely breaks your trust as a user. You're probably going to close that app immediately. But by intentionally applying unity and harmony, we bring immediate order to all that chaos. We instantly gain consistency, which makes navigating things so much easier. We gain clarity, so you know exactly where to look. We achieve professionalism. It actually looks like an expert made it.
And honestly, perhaps most importantly, we create visual comfort. We make the design feel highly intentional rather than just an accident. Which brings us to Section 3, Tools for Creating Connection.
So how do we actually pull this off? Well, designers rely on a very intentional toolkit to build this connection. Here are 5 actionable steps, the literal building blocks of harmony. First up, a consistent color palette. Using a related set of colors, like warm earth tones or vibrant jewel tones, instantly creates a visual link across a screen or a room. Number 2 is repetition. Repeating shapes, patterns, or fonts strongly reinforces unity. Think about the beautiful repeating block print motifs on traditional Rajasthani fabric. That repetition is exactly what makes it so incredibly pleasing to look at. Third is alignment. Proper alignment creates invisible lines of order. Fourth, similar visual language. If elements share a style, like using all flat icons on your phone, it feels vastly more harmonious. And fifth, consistent materials and finishes. This is absolutely crucial in physical products, fashion, and architecture. You have to select elements that support one common visual direction.
Next up, Section 4, Applications across design fields.
The absolute coolest thing about these principles is that they are totally universal. In graphic design, unity connects the typography, imagery, and layout of a brand. In fashion design, harmony coordinates the colors, fabrics, and accessories. Picture a perfectly coordinated bridal lehenga where every single embroidered thread feels intentional. That's harmony. In interior design, it creates those cohesive, welcoming rooms we all love. In UI/UX design, like those UPI payment apps we use a dozen times a day, consistency directly improves usability and builds essential user trust. In textile design, it links motifs and textures. And in architecture, unity connects local materials and physical forms to the actual experience of walking through a building. The medium changes, sure, but the foundational principle is exactly the same across the board. Now please pay close attention to Section 5. Unity does not mean sameness.
Okay, I need to issue a really critical warning right here. It's a trap almost every single beginner designer falls into. Unity does not mean sameness. Let me just repeat that so it sticks. Unity does not mean making everything identical. A lot of beginners think, okay, to make it unified, I'll just use the exact same color, the exact same shape, and the exact same texture for every single thing. But if you do that, you strip away all the personality. Making every element exactly identical will just make a design feel incredibly boring. It goes visually flat and totally lifeless.
So here is the real secret of the pros. Strong design balances unity and variety. You need enough consistency to create that feeling of connection, but there absolutely must be enough variation to keep the viewer interested. It's honestly exactly like cooking. You need a rich, unified base gravy to bring the whole dish together, right? But you desperately need those random pops of whole spices to make the bite actually exciting to eat. Designers are constantly playing this meticulous balancing game between those two opposing forces, unity and variety.
Finally, let's wrap up with Section 6, the observation exercise. We've defined the terms, we've learned the tools, now I want to challenge you. Sometime today, take this new visual lens, pause whatever you're doing, and just look around. Carefully observe your environment. Check out a website or app you use every single day. Look around the room you're sitting in right this second. Next time you go out, pay attention to the interior of a local cafe, or maybe a new Bollywood movie poster, or a clothing collection in a store window. Look past what the object is and start actively looking at how it was built. I want you to ask yourself this exact question. Do all the elements actually feel connected? Is there a common visual language happening? And conversely, does anything feel completely out of place? A highly successful design is never just a random collection of parts thrown together. It is an incredibly intentional system where every single piece supports the whole. So keep your eyes open, observe the world around you, and ask, is it connected or is it chaos? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and definitely keep looking closely at the design everywhere around you.